And folks, Linda McMahon. Now, of course, I'm just kidding. That was an old WrestleMania theme. Welcome to a special Monday night edition of WZR Radio here on WZROnline.com, WrestlingInc.com, and a bunch of other websites. Unfortunately, a lot of websites are down this evening, so we're missing some of you guys tonight, but hopefully everything will be back up and running tomorrow, because we're going to be here tomorrow as well for our weekly 7 to 9 Eastern Time program. We figured we'd do something right now just because there's been so much news today and big WrestleMania pay-per-view last night. So I actually called up my co-host Jose Rivera about 2 hours ago and said, "Hey man, we got a lot going on, so let's try to do something tonight." We put a notice out on the website a couple hours ago, and here we are right now. Jose Rivera, El Vatos, what's up, my man?
What it be? WrestleMania fever. I was going to do the Howard voice, but then I said, you know what? The heck with the Howard voice. Let's just go right into it. Indeed, unbelievable event last night.
Oh, dude, it was crazy. You know, it had its ups and downs, but look at some of the feedback from people that are in the live chat room right now. It's WZROnline.com/chat, and a lot of people differ. You know, some people say it sucked, other people say it was all right, other people say it was great. You know what I mean? But overall, I thought it was a decent show. I thought the main event, which we'll get to here in just a little bit, that was kind of disappointing. It was the outcome that I had expected, but it wasn't. I mean, the crowd was so dead by the time the main event came on. I mean, there were actually people booing and loud amount of boos. You know what? It was crazy. It was just like, wow, this is
That's
the rough
kind of like the downfall of having it with 72,000 plus people. They're gonna let you know, and you're right. We'll definitely get into the predictions ratio, but it is indeed. It didn't. I mean, it was an awesome event, and I guess the first thing that comes to my mind is Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. I mean, that's kind of like when someone says WrestleMania 25, that's the first thing that's going to come to my mind.
See, the first thing that comes to my mind when somebody brings up WrestleMania 25, two things. You ready?
Go ahead.
Kid Rock and the Divas Battle Royal. No, of course, I'm just joking. No, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, man, that tore down the house last night. I mean, near fall after near fall after near fall, just amazing. And, you know, sometimes matches like that, the thing about it is when you got to the main event, Triple H, they tried to do the same thing in the main event that they did with the Undertaker-Shawn Michaels match, and it either works or it doesn't work. And in the main event, maybe it was just because they were so tired out with the Money in the Bank ladder matches off the hook. I thought Hardy versus Hardy could have been given more time, but for what it was, really, really good spots. The ending spot there where they had, what was it, like a twist of fate onto an open chair. Yeah. Which was really cool to see. And then what else? I mean, the main event, it was just, the only thing about it was the main event. That's the only real problem that I had. And it wasn't the outcome or anything like that. It was just, I think the crowd killed it, you know what I mean? And they were just burnt from I mean, what are you, 4 hours deep once you get to about 10:30, I think is when that match started. And you knew they were going to go 25 minutes or more, you know what I mean? I mean, that was the main storyline. And people going into it, I mean, I had even said here in the last few weeks that I know last year The Undertaker closed out the show, and you don't want to do the same exact thing. But tell me, man, I mean, if you put The Undertaker versus Shawn, well, what a way to end WrestleMania, if that's what they did last night, and obviously they didn't, but what a way to end that show, you know. And I think they knew going in, and I knew that Shawn and Taker, I mean, WrestleMania, both of those guys are going to go out there and tear down the freaking house, you know what I mean? But I understand you don't want to do the exact same thing 2 years in a row to end the big show, you know.
I mean, it's funny because I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm thinking it more as maybe they should have done it, even if it was 2 years in a row, because it's prestige to have a 16-0 record, let alone a 17-0 record. And I think if it finishes off the show, then not only do you build an instant classic, but on top of that is there's an impact behind the 17-0 finishing off 2 WrestleManias in a row. You know what I'm saying? So if next year WrestleMania in Arizona, let him finish off the show again if he's going to be 18-0.
Oh, for sure. And I don't think that streak is ever going to come to an end. You know, I mean, I think he's going to go out. And, you know, he's a guy, I put this on the website earlier today, but people that were in Houston for WrestleMania said, you know, nobody saw The Undertaker. He was in his hotel room with ice all over his knees, and Shawn Michaels
he was knocked out pretty well.
Yeah, you know, 2 guys that are just hurt these days. You know what I mean? And are definitely going to need time off in 2009 here. Both of them are going to be given some time off here. I'm not sure. I wouldn't expect them to both go out at the same time. But, I mean, The Undertaker's known to do that, you know. I mean, especially at this age right now. Last year, took a little bit of time off, came back, you know, and I think he's going to do the same thing this year. He's pretty beat up, man. But he's got Michelle McCool, so it works out all right?
He's definitely another guy that's going to end up going to Raw, and, of course, we'll discuss that more in detail tomorrow with the draft. But it's just the whole entire card from up and down. I mean, overall, it was, you know, I give it like a B minus, and that's just only because of the Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. Everything else, I would say somewhere about a C.
Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. Well, really, you give the whole pay-per-view a CC? I would say overall I'd give that pay-per-view a B+. I mean, there wasn't much that I didn't like. And the main event, you know, it wasn't. Actually, you know what? I got entertainment tonight. I don't have the TV blaring, but they just aired I just caught it. It went off the air now, but they went to a commercial. But Entertainment Tonight just did a feature here on WrestleMania 25 from last night. I don't have the volume turned up or anything like that, but they did do a feature just now. But overall, I thought the pay-per-view was a B+. You know, there really wasn't much that I didn't like. And the main event, not to say that the match was horrible, because it wasn't. You know, I mean, Triple H and Randy Orton had a decent match, but that crowd just absolutely killed it for me. You know what I mean?
It died. I mean, you know what I'm surprised is in the past, they usually have a big match and then a gimmick match. So this way, you know, the crowd relaxes a little bit and just kind of winds down from the previous match, and then you have another big match. So this way, you know, you kind of, I mean, we just kind of saw it on a roll, and I know traditionally in the past that's how the WWE did it, but then they stopped doing it that way. They, you know, again, they build a big match, and then they'll do a Divas match or, you know, a Battle Royal match. You know, so again, something to cool down the crowd, and then follow up with something bigger. So this way it has a more greater impact. And they didn't do it this time. This time they just kind of just whooped right through. And you know, I'm not saying being married to Stephanie McMahon had anything to do with the win and him finishing off WrestleMania. I don't agree with the ending. I honestly thought that, you know, Randy Orton was actually going to end up winning. I didn't want to believe, I guess, that once I saw how the match was going and those close calls, I came to more realize and saying to myself, H is going to freaking end up winning. And I think that's one of the reasons why the crowd was just kind of left dead. It was just like, come on, you know, all this fight, all this, you know, issues with Randy Orton, bringing it personal to Stephanie, and then just ending up losing into the, you know, it kind of almost, I mean, he'll win the title eventually, of course, but still, it's just exactly how you felt. I mean, I would.
Well, I expected a run-in. I expected some sort of run-in with the McMahons. I mean, you had them on Raw, and you were kind of waiting for that run-in or somebody to turn, maybe Stephanie turns, because they did a backstage segment with Triple H, and he gave just a glare to Vince and Shane backstage, and I said to myself, all right, you've got Vince and Shane backstage, where's Steph? Steph wasn't anywhere to be found, so I had figured Steph would come out and maybe do the run-in, maybe screw Triple H and join Orton, and that's how the pay-per-view would go off the air, and you would have Orton win the title, you know, because Stephanie would come down and do the screw job for Triple H. I think what they're going to do, from what I've been told, is tonight on Raw, they're going to do a major angle where Triple H used the sledgehammer, which was banned in the match. They did the ref bump. Triple H used the sledgehammer on Orton and then hit pedigree and got the win. So I believe they're going to do a major angle on Raw tonight. Maybe do the rematch tonight. If it doesn't happen tonight, they'll do it at Backlash. I think Backlash is April 26th. I want to say. I think that's a
Providence, Rhode Island. I'm actually going to try to.
Are you going to try to go?
Unfortunately, I missed out on my WrestleMania trip. Let's just not talk about that one.
I know. Actually, somebody in the chat room says it's April 28th. Let me just confirm that. No, it's April 26th. That's a Sunday. So Backlash is April 26th. So that'll be coming up. That's 3 weeks away from tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have much time to build that up. So we'll have to wait and see. But I believe they're going to do a major angle tonight with the